Good day, everyone. Jimmie Schwinn and Master Lama Rasaji here. We're going to give it a couple seconds to make sure we got all the folks that were waiting there on before we start episode 22 of the Patriot and Lama show, God's Currency. So we're really excited about what happened last week. It was amazing. Almost 30,000 plus views on all the media, social media assets that lost journey of Yahushua, Jesus, the Christ, the Son of God. Please, by all means, if you have not watched it, go back and watch it. If you have watched it, share it with friends. We are getting some unbelievable feedback on that. So first, Master Lama Rasaji, how you doing today?
Well, Patriot Jimmie, I'm doing phenomenal, and I'm real excited about this episode and what we're going to do to share with the people. So I couldn't be more excited to be here today, brother.
Well, currency, I mean, we're going to be talking about God's currencies and both unformed and formed, which is going to be amazing. I'm excited about it. Coming off of last week's episode, I got to tell you, I am just feeling fantastic. And any of you down there that seen that episode, put in the comments what you think about it. Put a link to it and share it with every single person that you can. Again, make sure you're sharing this live right now on Facebook, YouTube, wherever. It's friendly. We're not getting into politics or anything like that here. We're just giving you the truth. And, we want to fish in the YouTube, Facebook, and other big social media ponds, right? There's a lot of people still there. And also, of course, we go into the alternative media too. But at the end, we'll be, Master Lama Rasaji and myself will be answering questions. So make sure you stay here. This one won't be as long as last one, but the last one, it was amazing. It grew. The viewership grew all the way through it. It was amazing what was going on. I mean, amazing. And there's amazing things happening, folks. So hold on to, get your pen, your pad, and hold on to your seats, because the Master Lama Rasaji is going to talk to you about God's currencies, because we want you to be on the right side of the greatest wealth transfer from the wicked to the righteous that's ever been seen in any time in this earth's history. And we want you to be one of the stewards to handle that. So the very first question I'm going to ask you, Master Lama Rasaji, is what are God's currencies?
Well, Jim, of course, that stems from a couple things. And number one, I want people to think about the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last. And when you examine the flow of those energies, the Alpha is a golden flow and the Omega is a silver flow, and that'll kind of give away what's going on here. So in our Tai Chi Gong exercise, several times, as you know, Jimmie, in the first 20 minutes of the standing exercise, there is a motion made like a figure eight. But when you examine that motion, that infinity motion, you examine that there's an X in between that way, right? So I want people to visualize silver energy that's so wet and nucleus, it looks like mercury in a thermostat. So I want you just to visualize with me, if you will, for a moment, coming in all the chakras, all the vortexes, the 7 in the body, like so. Now I want you to visualize going out, making the equal arms cross, kind of like the Celtic cross, is a golden liquid energy. So we have the Alpha going out, making what we call the Tai Chi Gong flow. Okay. And then we have the Omega coming in, making an X. When you examine that, you have an 8 arms cross. When you take the 8 arms and you circle them all the way around, it's the core membrane of God's energy body through which everything is manifested in all of creation. So before it is actually manifested, that flow is established. And as every human being goes through second birth to a mature level, so that kundalini gets on the other side, we know that our energy bodies are expanded several feet in all directions. And one of the easiest scientific symbols of that, and you think about the 8 mega zero, you think about the scientific atom, ATOM, right? We think about the atom. Well, that's who and what we are. So at the core of currency, what does that tell us? Well, it tells us that currency, like everything else in the universe, is energy and light. It's energy and light first. The alpha, the beginning, the omega, the end, the begin all and end all of creation coming through the Father. But it also equates who we are, that we're the co-creator with the divine. We are part of that CIA secret elite, the creator in action. So he's wanting to expand his creation. He wanted to share his love with us. But watch this. This is even more powerful. And this is what we're doing at MPM. He wants to share his love through us. This is important. Why do I say that like that? Because you can stop it. You can let that flow of energy trickle like a hose pipe or a faucet that needs to be fixed. Or guess what? You can turn it on like a fire hydrant. And God the Father, giving us keys to his kingdom, Jimmie, he wants us to turn it on like a fire hydrant.
Oh, yes, absolutely, 100%. And, so love is also part of God's currencies, correct? These are, it would be, I guess it would be that under the unformed or formed end of that. But love is part of God's currency. Silver and gold, when you read the scriptures, let's say the Christian, Judeo-Christian scriptures, you hear about how heaven's streets are paved in gold, and how silver and jewels and all of that build the jewels, the precious stones that build the foundations, the gates that are one giant pearl. So if anyone thinks that the Heavenly Father ain't stacking up gold, and so he owns all the gold, he owns all the silver, he owns all the rubies, he owns all the diamonds, he owns all the emeralds, he owns all the pearls, they're all his anyways. But if you want to be a steward of any of them, you need to understand what Master Lama Rasaji just said, because, there's a lot going on right now, right this minute, okay? Right now, this minute. And there is a big wealth transfer happening, and we want you to be part of it, okay? We want you to be part of it. And so it's real important. It's real important that you understand these principles. And I'm going to show you something here. Everything has a frequency, correct, Master Lama Rasaji?
Absolutely, Jimmie.
And if you look at this, I'm going to show you something very pretty here. This is a 1 ounce bar of silver. Okay.
Wow.
You can see
beautiful.
This. Now,
yes.
And I'm not a investment advisor, neither is Master Lama Rasaji, but I would tell folks right now, if you don't have some silver, get some silver. One of the most unvalued assets on the planet. I'm spraying right now what is called colloidal silver in my eyes. If you have a cut, you pay on it, spray it on there. Or if you had something with your throat, you take it. Silver, they're using it in all the electronic devices. They're using it in medical. They're using it everywhere. So this is a holy metal from the Creator, this precious metal right here, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Laugh online, that is way more than 1 ounce, Jimmie. Yeah, it's 100 ounces. This was a gift because of an affiliate winning a month winning this contest, the team and I. So it was pretty exciting. I didn't expect this. Again, what Master Lama Rasaji is saying about loving and these other things that are, that you can't hold in your hand. They're not tangible, but they are God's currencies, right?
That's
and
great.
this was a blessing sent to me. Amen. Unexpectedly, right? So, you talked about what God's currencies are. And we know, again, that, right now we're in a situation where people are very afraid of this fiat currency. And we know that none of these fiat currencies have lasted more than a couple hundred years before they implode. And we know that here in the United States, I think we're at 240 some years. Correct me if I'm mistaken, but it's over 200 years. And we're seeing inflation. We're seeing, my wife, once in a while, I have myself a little treat. And she got me some baked potato chips. And I opened the bag and I said, "What happened?" Well, the bag, now from being halfway full, it's now down to a third full. So we're getting hit with inflation. And this fiat currency, I don't want to be a preacher of doom and gloom, and I know you aren't, Master Lama Rasaji, but its time is coming. And I think it's really important now that people understand all of God's currencies, tangible and untangible, so that you can position yourself and your family and let others know and spread the word of what we're talking about here today, so people can, be leveraged the right way in order to be on the receiving side of the wealth transfer and not on the other side. So any more you want to talk about God currencies after I, what they are after I went through that, or we want to go to the next question?
Yeah, let's go to the next question. You did a good job.
Okay, so what is the difference between unformed and formed? What's the difference between unformed and formed currencies of the Creator?
Well, again, you're back. Now you're getting into the distribution of God's holy energy, as we've talked about in regards to the Trinity, that's constantly supposed to be working in godly women and man's life. Again, see, he's not only used this for creation, he's not only used this power to sustain creation, he's not only used this power when things are out of balance or need to change, to surgically remove them. As we learn God's way, which, as you know, is not man's way, as we learn God's law, which are not man's law, what do we observe? If I walk across the street today, I'm going to break probably a half a dozen of man-made laws. And most of those laws made by man were not made in reference to God. What do I mean? Do this in memory of me means every act, every thought, eventually I'm reflecting to the Almighty Creator, right? That's what I'm doing, right? So how many laws do we imagine today that aren't instituted? See, God's got a lot fewer laws. That's the beauty. But his laws do everything. They manifest creation, they sustain creation, and they surgically, watch this, sculpture creation. Think about the earth for a minute. One of the greatest creations that's ever been done. Think about what it took to create earth that would help him sustain human life. Now, I want you to think about something. For those of you atheists out there, and you agnostics out there, and you doubtsayers out there that still wonder, is there somebody pulling the almighty switch? I want you to think about who could have possibly done that outside of God the Father, right? Who could have, right? Think about it. Everything is perfect. Oxygen level, carbon monoxide level, foliage. He created in his pharmacy, nature is God's pharmacy, a medicinal plant to offset any imbalance, right? Or any ease, which means lack of ease, in the human genome. Everything that he created in the earth is a reciprocation of an energy exchange of the alpha and the omega. If that's not enough to say, oh my God, you could only have done this, then what about the human species that live on it? Well, what if I told you that God first created the human species and placed them on the earth for about 350, 400,000 years ago as part of an experiment? And then what if I told you after they were here, 2 to 250,000, he decided that he was going to splinter himself in his sharat to these human beings, and he was going to impart that soul upon him, which basically created the Adam and Eve story. I want you to think about this for a second, right? Now, human beings are walking around with his currency in them. Now, human beings are walking around with his love, his light, and his energy working through us. So I want you to understand. See, there's an energy that creates everything. There's an energy that sustains everything. And then there's an energy that surgically removes everything. He used that to create the earth, the skies, the galaxies, and yes, universe with S's. Yes. But in the midst of all that, he put his prodigy there. Who's his prodigy? All of us. He said, I'm going to put you in as a prodigy potential. He was the art type director. He says, then I'm going to send you an image of what I want you to become, which is what we talked about last week. Now, I want you to think about this. See, I'm not a financial planner or advisor. Neither is Jimmie. But watch this. If somebody was to ask me today, what would I want to own? Wouldn't it make sense to little by little look at your portfolio and think about increasing what God has directly made himself? So let's look. We've got gold. We've got silver. We've got diamonds and diamond mines. We've got jewels. We've got property. See, there are things that don't have the fullest frequency of God. And then there are things that hold a higher frequency of God. You know, they say when you break down a human being, there's enough energy in the bioplasma of a human being to run an average city in America. I want you to think about that currency and that worth. Then I want you to think about the power that you have to bring something forth, exercise, and bring life from. Now, Master Rabbi Jesus did that with Lazarus. And then when that wasn't enough, and remember, it just happened weeks before the crucifixion, he said, wow, that's not enough. I got some of them's attention. I want to get all of their attention. So he said, okay, I'm going to literally destroy the very body that was created by God the Father himself. And then I'm going to go back to him and tell him to restore this body back to the perfect image that he originally created in me. I don't know any better examples of unmanifested to manifested. Jimmie.
Yeah, it's very powerful. And I want to say, folks, I'm looking at the comments. I want you to keep, this is the Patriot speaking. So, I want you to keep them positive. Pine needle tea, you can get it on Amazon. All right. I got actually the liquid drops. I understand why you're saying that. Keep these comments clean. I would appreciate that. Me and the Master Lama Rasaji and myself, because remember, these people are looking at these comments too, and we want to get out to lots of people with this information. Again, if you have not watched episode 21, 2 + 1 = 3, on the 23rd of September, 2 + 3 = 5, two beautiful numbers, make sure that you do. It's important that you do. And you know what? I know a lot of people need things real quick and they get jittery and they're all over the place. Spend the 90 minutes. Spend the 90 minutes and watch it, please. Because this is what they don't want you to know. They don't want you to come into your power. The things that we're teaching you, the Master Lama Rasaji sharing with you from a 3,300-year-old Lamasery, that records have never been, edited or taken apart like everything else has been, is more valuable than gold, more valuable than rubies, more valuable than diamonds, okay? So believe me when I'm telling you, I'm a busy guy, okay? And I speak to this man every single day, okay? You couldn't get me to come to your place for multiples, tens of thousands of dollars for a day to consult, because I don't do it anymore, but it costs a lot. So pay attention to what we're saying. And don't worry about all this fear porn that's going on, because I know one thing. I'm not going to taste Armageddon. Master Lama Rasaji's not going to taste Armageddon. And a lot of people that are on this, watching live right now, and it'll be watching afterwards, aren't going to be tasting experience Armageddon, because our vibration's too high. Okay, and we're going to get into an episode, Master Lama Rasaji, about the different dimensions and vibrations of Earth that stack on top of each other, right? And I know that I know, and I can't wait till you get into the Garden of Eden truth, which is going to be really, really, powerful. But don't focus, folks, on the doom and gloom. Don't focus on the negativity. Focus on the solutions. Focus on the positivity. Okay? I love you, all of you, but as a coach, I have to be straight. Okay? And if this only affected one person that's watching today, and it was only for one person, that's fine. Hopefully that'll help that one person. Okay, so that was beautiful, and I understand that, the tangible and untangible, the form and unformed currencies of the Creator, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, we have made a mess of things down here with this toilet paper currency we've got that ain't worth more than, it's only worth anything because the labor that we put in for it. If it wasn't for the labor that we put in for it, it would have no value at all. And we're hearing that, things might be changing, but we're not going to give dates and get into all of that. But you got to position yourself right, folks. The day and time, no one knows exactly the day and time when these things are going to happen, when there's going to be a currency reset, or there's going to be, a financial collapse, or whatever that's going to be. But if you listen to what the Master Lama Rasaji is teaching and what I'm helping teach with him, you will understand that you can position yourself. This is nothing but opportunity. And those that are awake and are spiritually grounded and have been in business for any length of time understand it, and we're freaking fired up. So we're excited about it. So the next thing we want to talk to, question 4, is when God's currencies are working in your life, what can you expect to happen?
Well, everything feeds everything. Think about it. See, you're the most healthiest, whether you realize it or not, when you're hungry and you're eating and you're assimilating food and you're breaking it down and the waste goes to where it needs to go. You're turning proteins, you're using carbohydrates, you're using essential fatty acids, you're using oxygen. Everything, when that's happened, you're considered healthy. Think about that for a second, right? When you stop to be able to do that, then you age a little bit. when that gets aggressive, you begin to do what's called fast start aging. And that's what happens, right? So here is the thing that you need to remember. Again, I want to make a shift. So Jimmie just told you that fiat currencies all over the planet are more temporal. I want you to write that down. They're more temporal. So if I want to be a logical person, kind of like a Dr. Spock kind of person, if you will, if I want to use my common sense, that I want to absorb more what God put on the planet direct from him.
Yes.
I want to write down, okay, let me see. He made the property. He made trees. He made the silver. He made the gold. He made the jewels. I will use a financial planner only to make reference. Let me give you an example. When it comes to health in the Lama theory, we say you should be the CEO of your health. So you should have a board of directors, counselors in the medical field. You should have them in the holistic field. In other words, you should have doctors and nurses, but maybe an acupuncture physician, a homeopathy, a chiropractor, a nutritionist, a Tai Chi master, a yoga master. And let's say they represented 8 to 12 people. You're going to make some changes in your health. You're going to listen to them. Who is going to make the final decision? You are. That's what responsibility as a spiritual. Now, why do we look at currencies or money or precious metals or any form of investment? Why do we look at it differently? We should not look at it any differently. If I'm over here looking at it, I'm going to say, what is more temporal? Why do I say that, Rasaji? Why? You say, why is the Lama saying that? Because God is eternal. I want to use and be a steward of the things he puts in. Wouldn't it make sense over a period of time, depending on your knowledge, your risk, and everything, wouldn't it make sense if you're looking at a portfolio, whether it's 100,000, $1 million, $10 million, doesn't matter. Wouldn't it make sense that gradually you would shift when you know it's coming? It's not like you don't know it's coming. Everybody and their parent is telling you. Joseph Land, the sage of the South, that's been in business over 40 years, 50 years, and investing for over 40 years, is part owner in a hedge fund. He told you yesterday, it's coming. It's all coming. Now watch this. We don't know the exact time, but you can probably bet that it's 5 to 25 years at most, right? So if you knew that, what would you start to do? How much silver would you own, right? How much gold would you own? How much property, and property that generates income, but also property like Joseph said, maybe I'll go in some depressed area or some area that's been overlooked. And if I go to the Philippines, they would call that a province. In America, we'd probably call it farmland or something, right? But I'm going to look at a place. Have you ever noticed, churches, there's a lot I disagree with about the way that churches teach. But churches, a lot of times when it comes to business, have you ever noticed they're pretty daggum smart? And you see more restaurants closing than churches. Have you ever wondered why that? Right? They're pretty good about passing the plate, right? So watch this. They are doing exactly what Joseph Land, the sage of the South, said yesterday. They've been doing it for years. When there's an area that they hear that a major supermarket chain's moving into, and it hasn't become populated there, what is one of the first things that moves into this new area? Church. They're thinking about new converts, whether you want to say this or not, new dollars. Yes, they are. They got to pay the electrical bill just like you do. They got to pay the mortgage and the rental just like you do. So they go ahead of time. So if I'm a person who's thinking about, we did an episode in the very early stages talked about Enoch. And Enoch ended up living 365 years. What do you think Enoch did? What was Enoch up to? Do you think that he went from the tangibles to the untangible? Do you think that he went from what could be gone tomorrow to something more stable? And think about your grandparents. Think about people you knew that farmed the land in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s. What did they know? And how did they prosper because they knew that? See, what I'm trying to tell you is spirituality isn't something that you just do for 15 to 30 minutes a day, and then you put it on the cupboard to come back to it tomorrow. Spirituality is a whole different way of looking at life. And I want to look through all my life through the veil of spirituality. See, I don't know about you, but personally, I don't want to do anything that doesn't have God the Father's hand on it. To be honest with you, I don't even associate long-term with anybody anymore that doesn't spend at least a half hour a day or more with God. You know why? Because I know their frequency and their energy is they're just not serious about wanting to be here. So your life is not based on how many trips you do to Dunkin' Donuts and how many movies you download on Netflix. Your life, you were sitting here and you're watching this show today because you want to have purpose in your life. You want to understand that whether you don't think I'm talking about currency, you realize, oh my God, the Lama is talking the root of currency. He's talking about where the manifested comes from the unmanifested, and he is actually speaking God's ways and God's laws. I'm going to ask you, are you listening and are you taking notes, Jimmie?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday's mastermind webinar with Brother Joseph Land was powerful, and there's a lot of opportunity here, okay, that's going to be happening, even with some foreign currencies that are going to be reevaluating against the dollar at a very high mark. You're very optimistic, Master Lama Rasaji, about a 5 to 25 year, and I know that you and I have, I feel that this fiat currency can't last much longer. They're printing it out of it's out of control. Other countries are not wanting to take the American dollar now. This is ridiculous. If you look at the money supply from the people that print the money, the Fed, it's out of control. But what I can tell you is this, okay? Me and my wife had this conversation. My wife and I had this conversation yesterday. I'm buying more silver. And again, I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm looking for farmland right now. I'm buying silver. I've got assets, right? Tangible assets that I can put my hands on. I got food storage. I got water storage. I got Second Amendment right. I got that storage too. I got storage for my family to protect my family. And one person was saying here, and we're going to be answering questions pretty soon. We got another question to go through, and then we're going to answer questions. But somebody saying, well, I don't have that. Well, stop saying that. Stop saying I don't have. Stop giving power to what you don't want and start giving power to what you do want. Okay? I have to master my mind. The mind is a bad master. If you have not read Rasaji's Circle of Life, it was Circle of Chi, but we're changed the name. He changed the name to Circle of Life. I'm going through the book for the second time, and then I'll be going through and doing editing and helping him as we go into the new seminars for his private members starting in 2022, actually training on each chapter of the book. There's a lot about money in the relation to it. And if you look at Robert Kiyosaki's the 4 quadrants that he talks about, you know, either you're an employee, you're self-employed, you're a business owner, or you're an investor. Well, I'm not an employee, but I'm all the rest of those 3 things. Okay. And that's what you need to be. And right now, maybe you need to be an employee, because there's a lot of business owners out there right now that are looking for good people, and they're willing to pay sign-on bonuses. Okay. Right now, I mean, I see them when I go out. Very rarely do I go out, but when I do go out, the Lama's working on my balance, you know, because I'm a workaholic. But when I do go out and, you know, I see signs, help wanted, bonus paid, sign-on bonus. So there's opportunity everywhere, you know, and we're going to be training within the mastermind webinars how to do that. There'll be some free training, of course, like we're doing right now. We give this away for free. Master Lama Rasaji has set up a free Circle of Life community where you can go in and get his whole entire ebook, Circle of Life. I'm going to show you that after we're done answering the questions. But we're giving a lot for free because we want you to help you. I mean, I look at the testimonials coming back from the Circle of Life. I'm very honored and humbled to be involved in this. But this is our purpose. This is why we came back. I didn't want to get on camera, except for private webinars. Master Lama Rasaji will tell you this. He knew all about me, and he didn't tell me all the things that him and the Lamasery knew about me. And I'm not going to get to it on this thing. It was a little bit of a gradual process, but as I have been now involved in the Tai Chi Gong exercises every single morning, first 2 months, only the breathing. But for the last, I think about 4 months now, the exercises, I got to tell you, my clarity of thought, my connection to the Creator, the blessings pouring in. I had the best month of my life this month. Okay? Are you hearing what I'm saying? And I give all the glory and the honor to the Heavenly Father and His Son, King Yahushua, Jesus, the Christ, the Son of God. I'm not going to get into all these divisional stuff, okay? Because it's a bunch of nonsense. But what I'm going to tell you is I'm living proof. I'm living proof of this. And I think another one of God's currencies of unformed is gratitude. The attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Master Lama?
All of Master Rabbi Jesus's promises, when you think about it, are the unmanifested. Think about it for a while. You know, joy, things of immortal glory. I mean, all of these. So when you look at, you know, there's man's emotions, just like there's man's DNA. There's God's emotions, and there's God DNA. And when you think about joy and love and peace and gratitude and thankfulness and purpose, you know, whoa, you're talking about godliness. That's what you do. You know, we were raised up as little kids, and you would walk into your aunt's house. Everybody probably had an aunt or a grandmother. You'd walk in the house and you were almost scared to sit down and touch the furniture because it was immaculate. And when you turned to them, what was the first thing out of their mouth? Cleanliness, Rasaji, is godliness. So we know all of these are adjectives, adverbs, or extension of God, right? But then we have all these other emotions. And see, what you've got to learn to do, right? Tomorrow's daily Lama is no worry, no hurry. What you got to learn to do is you need to learn to shift your emotional, psychological power to what you want to vibrate, what you want to manifest in your life. Well, when you say that I'm not manifesting this and that. Yes, Jimmie's right. First of all, begin not to say it. That's for most people easier said than done in the beginning. The whole reason for Tai Chi Gong is to slow you down first physically. And this is what I want you to get this. Then the mind takes the back seat in Tai Chi Gong. The mind will say, oh, he's wanting me to slow down. Maybe it's a good idea that I slow my mind down. Well, as you breathe oxygen and energy, you put space between your thought processes. And instead of your inner clock doing this, it starts to do this. Now you're a more conscious being and you can do this between thoughts. You go, whoa, I'm going to entertain this one. Oh, you're not in my life anymore. And eventually you will do that with thought processes. But when you get strong one day, when you become, your spirit is willing, like Master Rabbi Jesus, when you get that kind of strong, you will start to remove things and you will start to remove people who don't feed you. Remember what I said earlier, God created this whole system so that everybody is partaking of this energy field. When you really examine the trades of goods and services, really, what is it an exchange of? It's an exchange of vibration. It's an exchange of energy. See, at the core of all of creation, which includes goods and services, is creation is you. You know what I learned from a great City Yoga master? He said, you know, Lama Rasaji, I was able to make 3 people a millionaire, mentoring to them the last 5 or 10 years before I could make myself a millionaire. First thing that hit me, obviously, was self-image, right? This is probably what hit you, right? Now, this guy, a couple of years later, had 700 acres in Sierraville, California. Watch this. Hot and cold springs. Can you imagine natural jacuzzis that God created that had all the trace minerals in the water that you needed in the body? You could jump in these hot and cold water jacuzzis, and it was like jumping in the Dead Sea. You were like instantly healed. And people who had, like, in the warm water, women were delivering babies there because they logically began to think, if you knew about our episode on birth trauma and death urge, you would know, wow, it really makes sense to deliver a child that's been at 98.6 temperature for 9 months into a water that's close to 98.6, then into a hospital room that's 66 degrees Fahrenheit. Just maybe there would be less trauma. See, again, God's way is God's way. It's not man's way. God's laws are not man's laws. Lamas were sent here to tell you the difference and then explain for you how to understand them, absorb them, and then the most important thing, use them. And when you use these in your life, oh my God, the abundance, you understand what Master Rabbi Jesus meant by, I come to you to bring you a life and a life more abundantly.
Yes.
What he's saying is everything around you is feeding you. God the Father is feeding you through his soul. He splintered your soul. God the Mother, if you will, or Mother Nature, if you want to call her that, and you feel that makes you feel better, through her nature is psychically feeding you through earth air, water, and fire, the sun and the moon, you're getting a vitamin level that is even more powerful than your DNA in your body. Then I mentioned everything we grow in the earth is either medicinal to help us or to keep the genome of the human body at a balanced pH and acidic level, which promotes health and longevity, right? So when you're listening to him and following his way and understanding that energy is the currency of life, and the more energy you can get, it's the whole reason the Lama wrote the first book, The Circle of Life. Because the first half of the book is, how do you get more energy? Now, the second half of that book is, how do you share that energy? Well, an investigation of reading the Bible for decades, one day it hit me. God, the word work is like the third or fourth most common word used all throughout the Old and New Testament, all the way from the Garden of Eden to through the Acts of the Apostles. And I'm thinking, you know what? It must have been important, or why would God use that word all the time, Jimmie?
He's not lazy. The Heavenly Father isn't lazy. He knows what work is. He's a soldier. Okay, I want to talk about something here too, and hopefully drop some valuable nuggets into everybody's lap today. Your net worth is your network. Now, I want to talk about how you build your network, because I seen a comment here in the comments about how we have a county leadership in Pennsylvania in my Patriots network that's looking to bring in more Patriots. And I understand that. And I want you to listen up specifically, okay? Because I've built networks into the hundreds of thousands of people with my teams. Right now, my Patriot Networks has almost 125,000 members, and that's going to be a year, October 4th, okay? Which is, I think, Monday or something, coming up real quick here. So, the attitude of gratitude is very important in everything in life. Okay? I give thanks to the Heavenly Father before he even does it. Because why? Because I have faith that if it's in alignment with his purpose and will, it'll happen. Okay? It'll happen. If it's not in alignment with his purpose and will, it won't. Now, as you get closer and build a real relationship, and some of you probably have a real relationship and some of you don't, you're going to get more discernment. And so when you're thanking him for things that he hasn't done at that very moment in time, that's something that he wants to do anyways, okay? And one of the things I would tell you, if you want to build your network, love them, give them free stuff that's very valuable in helping them transform their lives, like what we're doing right here. A lot of people think that they can build this big network without helping others. I mean, you know why I have 5,000 people in my cell phone? Because I build a network and I love on people and I do what I say I'm going to do. And I give a lot of free stuff to help people and help them with their lives. And then they're like, you know what? I want to see what that Jimmie's got. I need more of his time. I'm willing to join this membership. I'm willing to spend $11 or $14.95 a month to get more webinars that are private, that are not open. Because we've given them more value on the free side of the equation than anybody else is really willing to do. There's some people out there that do it, but a lot of it's a bunch of nonsense that you can't even implement. Again, information without implementation is meaningless, right? And your net worth is your network, but you better be spiritual. You better be, have a relationship with the Father. Again, I don't care what you call the Creator. That's not my business. That's your business. You need no intermediator in between you and the Heavenly Father, the Creator of all things. You don't need it. You got direct connect. Got to get yourself prepared for this, okay? I can tell you I've made a lot of money throughout my life, and I've lost a lot of money throughout my life. The ego. I'm the businessman, Cindy. Jennifer, my daughter Jennifer and Cindy, you don't tell me about this partnership. I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And I lost almost $10 million in net worth in intellectual property because that was my early 40s. Okay. So I've been there, done that. And I'm, I went through the school of hard knocks, and I've been on a spiritual journey the majority of my life, almost all my entire life, because of the way I was raised in the Catholic religion and then into the Christian religion. And I'm not talking about, these people that were doing it, I'm going to church. And no, they were making us go all the time. And that's the way it was. And, I can tell you firsthand, I've seen many miracles happen right before my eyes. I'm a miracle that I'm still breathing when I went through my younger years. Okay. And, build that relationship, give value, love people, be grateful, stop condemning yourself, stop cursing yourself. I understand it's hard, but you can do it. I have to mind my mind. Master Lama Rasaji, after 52 years, we got to do some updating on them years in the books. So remember that he wrote that book in 2008. But after 52 years, ask him. I'll ask him right now. Master Lama Rasaji, do you have to mind your mind? Do you have to?
Oh, not only my mind, I have to mind my lips.
And
I have to mind my actions too.
Yes.
Because when my mind and my words and my actions are not unified, God's not in it. There's a fight going on. It's called conflict of being. Absolutely.
And it's so important because we know, folks, that we're in a time that is so important to hear this message. And we're out there and we're listening. I again, as you get closer to the Creator, the Spirit is taking, whether you say Holy Spirit or, the God, God's Spirit within you, His peace, His splinter peace in you. As you get more in touch with that, you're going to lose people. You're going to see people all jittery in front of you because they can't handle, talking to you, because you're putting out such a vibration and such a higher level that it actually is making them that way. Okay. You can shut off all of that, because what I say every single day in my prayers, one of the things I say is bring who you want to bring into my life and remove who you want. Not my will, your will, Father. Not mine, yours. Give him your will. He gave you free will, but the smartest thing to do is give it back to him. I'm telling you right now, I'm a very analytical person. Well, I'm pretty much balanced in the way I think. You've seen my chart, Master Lama Rasaji. It's pretty unusual. It's 24, 27, 29, something. Most people are not like that. But he made me like that for a reason. He brought me back here for this purpose. And again, I didn't have to come back here. Okay. I chose to come back. And so did Master Lama Rasaji for this moment in time, so we can help people. We can give them the truth. Stop listening to all the doom and gloom. Stop listening that people are going to come and save you and if you sit there and do nothing, and work with us as a team. Okay. And we will help you if you put action behind what you're learning. If you don't, it won't work. Okay. And you've got to you heard what Master Lama Rasaji said. He doesn't even associate with people personally. I mean, where he gives his personal time, unless they're given 30 minutes to the Creator and His Son and the Spirit. Okay. Because you know what? I'm watching people's heads explode right now with Mercury retrograde. I picked it up 5 weeks before it happened. It was fully retrograde on the 27th of September. And we've only had 3 Mercury retrogrades. Usually that's what we have every year, 3. We're going to have 4 next year. Are you ready for that? I would say that you need to get yourself prepared, because there's going to be some major changes in 2022. I can tell you that. And we want you to be on the right side of those changes. More people are needed to steward the kingdom's finances. Gold, silver, precious diamonds, rubies, land, all of that. The Creator's looking for more people that He can trust to be a steward of His resources. Not yours, His. I came in this world with nothing. I will leave with nothing. But what we accomplish together will be better for our children and our grandchildren. And this is a pivotal point in time. Work on yourself harder than you've ever worked on yourself in your life. Okay.
Amen. Amen.
So let me get the last question, and then we're going to open it up for questions. What basic principles of God's currencies did King Solomon, and we know where that Solomon treasure is, don't we? Oh, could it be Texas? King Solomon used to grow enormous wealth. So again, what basic principles of God's currencies did King Solomon use to grow the enormous wealth that he accumulated?
Well, I'm going to start, Jimmie, by answering this question. Two important things that I want people to write down, and then I'm going to show you how King Solomon used these, okay? So your net worth will be, write this down, your net worth is equal to who you see in the mirror every morning. I want you to write that down. So as you see all of God's glory in you, and you understand the part in Revelations where it says, when he comes, I shall see him, for he will be as I am. I will see him face to face. So whoever you see in the morning. Now, the next thing I want you to do is every City Yoga master or Tai Chi Gong master or Lama that has been abundantly blessed because they use these basic City Yoga principles, of which King Solomon did also, that they understand whether they're exchanging goods, services, products, whatever, when it really comes down to you, people pay to be in your presence. And the higher the frequency of your presence, the more they will pay and the more they want to be there. I want you to write that down. If you don't write these two things down, they're really important. Now, the third factor falls in line with when Christ says, love your neighbor as yourself. Okay, so I want you to think for a minute, who would be in the position to institute that concept to the highest degree? Imagine a king that saw his patronate people that he was servant to, that he literally believed that he was their servant. And imagine, contemplation is the highest form of communication with the divine. So we have prayer, which means to ask. We have meditation, which means to listen. We have contemplation, which means to become or image in, right? Made in God's image, right? So contemplation says, I'm going to become you. And its highest means, it says, we're going to change role. King Solomon knew his call for the Father was, I will store up the wealth that will go from earth to heaven like no other patriarch I have ever done, my son, if you will treat your people as your king. That's what did it. I know that sounds just too simple to be true, but I want you to think for a minute. Be honest with yourself. Maybe do a column exercise on this. Go to Rasaji.com, download the column exercise for free. Do our 45-day challenge for free. And then, when is the last time? Now, be honest. This is very important. You get this. When's the last time that you treated somebody you cared about as if they were Jesus? Did I touch a nerve? I bet I did. When's the last time that man or that woman that you walked down the aisle with, that you can recall why you walked down the aisle with them at all? Oh my God, Rasaji, I forgot all about that. And you're wondering why there's no fire left in your marriage? Oh, give me a break. When is the last time that a client came to you and you treated them like your mother or better than your mother, right? Or better than your child or your grandchild? You see, Solomon got it. And as he got it, the more of his people he brought close to him. Remember, he started seeing in him the divine. He started seeing in himself the divine. He saw more and more in himself the divine. And more, he saw his people as the kings and the queens. And guess what God did? He blessed him like he never blessed any other king. He blessed him the way that he had never blessed any other king. Think about that. That is the most incredible thing. So when he saw in the mirror, now this is very important for you to understand. That was an ongoing transformation. I want you to think about that. This is why I ask every one of my students at least once a week, do your prayers, meditations, and contemplations in front of a mirror. Watch what happens. You'll look on your face. Do you believe what you're saying? Like Eddie Murphy said, do you believe the words coming out your mouth? Right? So do you believe what you're saying? Because your face and eyes will not lie to you. Okay? Then spend time with the Father 20 to 40 minutes a day. He will raise your personal presence, your vibration, so that everybody wants to come and love on you. Then understand Jesus's commandment to the nth degree. And that is, see who you're doing business with. Be the kindest you can be to them. Be the most respectful to them. And Solomon turned the tide. It's like when I told the story of my master Babaji in India, and the doctor gives him $10,000 in Benjamins in an envelope. He gives it to the most spiritually deserved, which actually happened to be the most poorest economical. But he was the only one who knew who he was when he came back to take over his ashram after being gone for 24 years. Why is this important? Because he looked 50 years younger, and he still knew it was him. And that master convinced the government to give him the deed. That's how powerful. He says, when the doctor looked at him like, why did you just give the money I gave to you for your ashram? Why did you give it to this pauper? That's what the doctor acted like. And Baba knew he was thinking that. And Baba says, I give it to God because he pays the highest interest. Jimmie.
Yeah. Tithing to people that bring value into your life brings more revenue into your life. Okay, bottom line. I'm going to show the websites first, and then we're going to open up for questions now. Hopefully everybody has got value out of what was just taught. Again, we love you all and we want to help you, but let me go ahead and bring on the website here. Hold on one second. I'm messing with these controls. Hold on real quick. Let me do that. Oh, well, I don't want a video file. I want to share the screen. Okay. So let me pull up an application window here. I'm going to pull up this other one, not this one, because this will just show multiple screens. So there we are. So let me pull that up. Okay, can you see? You can see the screen now?
Yes, we can see it. Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So this is Master Lama Rasaji's website, circleofliferasaji.com, God's Joy. What you do is you hit join and go to Circle of Life Community, click on, just fill out this information, and on the inside, you'll be able to download the book, and you'll get other stuff for free back there to help you get started, like right away. Also, I recommend that you opt in to his daily emails, 5 days a week and 6-day recap, and any kind of important information that we need to get out to you folks, we do that. So make sure that you do that. Second thing is, Master Lama Rasaji and the Lamasery understand the importance of My Patriots Network and are behind it. Would you not say, Master Lama Rasaji, 100%?
110%, absolutely.
I like that, 110%. So click on Circle of Life, join that. Make sure you click on the Global Patriots Unite, join that group. And then under groups, you can find the state groups, okay? So if you click on states groups, you can find all of the different state groups here in the United States. If you're in another country, you'll find your country group, okay, under the country groups. You'll be able to find your country group, and then if there's a region there, you'll be able to get that. If you have any problems, use our MPN support. That's on the front end or the back end. So there's a reset password problem, a login problem. We have a team of people that handle that. But this is the way you can go right to your state, and then from your state, go into your county and start bringing other people in. I got to tell you folks, okay, we're pretty excited. I want to say pretty excited. We're really excited on what's going on with the CSPOA and MPN. This month alone, we have 5 different counties training with the sheriff. So there's a lot of good stuff going on. I don't want to get into too much here, but you go to that resource, you can find out everything that's going on. Make sure you opt into the Patriots Network daily updates too. Just create a folder and have them forwarded in there. And then when you got time, look at them. There's valuable information coming into there on 5 days a week. Then we do the recap, and if we have to add something on the 6th day, we do that. The Circle of Life store, after we're done here, I'm going through it, and then we're launching it. Okay, so that will be launched because I see someone asking about that. And as you can see, I've got my prayer beads here, and I've been going. I've got plenty of time. My affirmations. I've got plenty of time. I've got plenty of time. Right. What I know that the Heavenly Father has given me is I will complete the destiny that He created me for. No if, no ands, and no buts about it. So let's open it up for some questions now. Do we have any questions out there? Hold on, I'm going to go through because I know there was a lot of questions I did see some questions here. Give me some questions, and again on the membership, on MPN, just get a hold of support, and the support team will help you, and they'll help you get logged in there. Also, very shortly there'll be a chat. They're testing it on the dev server right now, so there'll be a chat program on MPN, so you'll be able to chat to each other in real time. It does a lot of cool things. We're just finishing testing it, and we're adding more servers and all of that to make sure that everything's running very smoothly and very efficiently. But again, that is you can share the information. We don't, it's all about First Amendment rights, but at the end of the day, it also serves a purpose, and learn the purpose that it serves. Okay. So do you have any questions, anybody, about what God's currencies? Okay. So from John, how to overcome doubt and fear? Question mark.
Well, to overcome doubt and fear is put actions to your thoughts. And also by doing that, that is the quickest way to vibrate in 5D. So they created a system called karma yoga many, many thousands of years ago in ancient India. And they wanted people just to act. So they wanted you to, whatever you do during the day, like whatever your work is, if you don't have work, spend time not only in the morning to be thankful to God in your prayers, meditations, but also periodically in your work during the day. And the mindset was, when they first developed karma, a lot of people were getting the most simplest jobs in the world. I remember I was in the entertainment business for years in New York City, and one of the most popular jobs that an entertainer would get when they were not working was like a waiter or a bartender, because it was a job they felt they could relax their emotions and their mind and repetitively do that, and at the same time make some pretty good money. I mean, on a good night somewhere in the East or West Village, even back in the 80s, people were making $200 or $300 a night. And in the 70s and 80s, that was not bad money, and it was cash money, right? So they wanted to do a job where they didn't have to think a lot, because they would turn the job almost into a mantra yoga, giving God thanks. At the same time, they would be moving. And what they found out, the more that you move, the more emotionally you feel better. Now, out of that evolution came the combination between the stuff you do in the morning that we talk about in the circle of life, and karma yoga evolved into a yoga referred to as Kriya yoga, that is mentioned in the Holy Science, the book that Jimmie's been referring to by Sharik Yuktaswa or Swamiji, and Parisha Yogananda, who actually brought yoga to America in the 1920s. So you read the autobiography of yoga, read the Holy Science, and what you'll find is Kriya yoga is different. You're doing things with specific intention to get a purposeful outcome that your spirit, mind, and body agree on. And it's powerful enough to raise your vibration that it can even begin to absolve karma. And that's why they refer to it a lot of times as penance yoga. So it's very powerful. But the simplest way to overcome fear and doubts, get up early in the morning and go for a walk in the sunshine and watch what happens. The most powerful thing that Jesse Owens learned from his coach had nothing to do with running track. He was so fearful as he was 6 weeks before the Berlin Games in 1936. Here he was, this Black American that was going to go into the Aryan race where Nazi Germany was just coming to power. And just try to think that you're in his place, what he must have been feeling. So the coach one day noticed that he was mentally distraught, and the Berlin Games were like 6 weeks away. So he grabbed him by the hand and says, let's go for a walk. And he looked at the coach. He says, well, coach, what else are you going to teach me? He said, I'm not really going to teach you anything. Just walk. And they began to walk, and they began to talk. And he didn't know it, but 30 minutes are going by. And he turned to Jesse. He says, Jesse, how do you feel? He says, Coach, I feel great. He said, isn't it interesting if you just walk a while and you talk a while, things get better. And he did that every day leading up to the Berlin Games. Went in there and took 3 gold medals for America and just smiled up at Adolf Hitler. And I would have loved to have been there and seen that. But that will do it. Jimmie.
Yeah, very powerful. Somebody was asking about and again, we're not financial advisors, but I've helped with a lot. We've, referred a lot of people, and I'm going to show you the company. You can go to Rasaji's site, Master Lama Rasaji's site. I'm going to show you that, and then I'm going to show you another company for the lower amounts. Okay, because we got to make sure people that want. Okay, so let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, can see.
You can see it. All right. So on Master Lama Rasaji's site, rasaji.com, you go to more and hit silver and gold. And we talk about it here. I personally, and again, I'm not a financial advisor, but I moved my 401k into an IRA, precious metal account, and I did it with this company. Okay. So I have physical metals that we hold, and then I have physical metals that are in an IRA. And then there's also different places that you can store your metals if you want. So if you want to, look at, moving a 401k into IRA, just go to Master Lama Rasaji's site, click on silver and gold, read it, click on the link, and go to the site, fill out your information. These folks are experts, and they'll help you. They got a A+ rating on Better Business Bureau. This is only for the United States. Now, where I buy and my wife buy our personal precious metals is from JM Bullion. But I will tell you this, you got to be careful when they send it to you in the mail, okay? And you can see JM Bullion here. And again, you can see Rasaji.com, silver and gold here. And I can put that, I'll put that into both of these. I can put into the things for you. But if you want to do 401k or to an IRA, these are the folks to do it. Precious metal back. If you're thinking about opening up one, these are the folks to do it. If you just want to put, some ounces of silver in your possession, this is a good place to do it, because these other people, they only deal with the minimum of a certain amount. But if you want to do, a single, ounce, you can do it here. You can even do, quarter ounce and grams and all kinds of stuff right here. Okay. Hopefully that helps everybody, with what we're doing here. I know it's important and people are worried about it, but I will put the links in. You know what? Let me go ahead and put the links in right now, because while we're on here, it will literally put them in, all of it, automatically without me having to go through it. So I'm going to put that one up there. And then I'll put the other one up there also, so that you know where to go. And this is the place that I use personally, okay, myself. So I'm not recommending something that I don't use, okay? So I put both of them up there so that everybody has that. And again, if it's, if you're buying a gram or, whatever you can do, you want to have some of that, you want to have some of that for yourself. I'm learning and growing spiritually daily. Thank to you, Master Lama Rasaji and Jimmie Schwinn. Bless you both. Bless you. We love you, Jonathan. Thank you very much for your kind words. I put that up there so you guys know I'm just not reading something. I'm looking at the questions here. For Rasaji, have you heard of the book of knowledge, The Keys of Enoch?
Yes, I have.
Yes, you have. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, there's, Enoch was with the Creator for 2 years, right? Wrote all these books, and where are they? Well, keep on watching, folks. Keep on watching. When the time is right, when everything is right, more information will be revealed.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to tell you, as I'm going through here, ulcers are paid. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about anything that can get us in any kind of issue with the platforms that we're driving live on. Okay. You can go into, My Patriots Network and, Rumble.
Say anything.
Yeah. So we don't do that here. We appreciate you. Thank you for your knowledge, wise words. And we thank you for you coming and spreading this. Please pass this around, share it, get people to listen to it. We need to get more stewards of the wealth transfer in place. Okay.
More spiritual patriots.
Very, very, very important. Now, these memberships that we have right now, the ones that I'm involved in, we have the Circle of Life. We have a private membership where you get 8 hours of Master Lama Rasaji every Friday, 2 hours. I mean, this is how long this goes. It fires me up for the weekend. And on top of that, all the training, all the seminars that we're going to be doing once a month, retraining on all the new chapters we're going to be actually doing these seminars to bring the additional knowledge that Master Lama Rasaji has, absorbed since 2008. And we're going to add those into each chapter, but we're going to be he's going to be training on those chapters starting in January 2022. You're the first people to hear that it's going to be, and that's going to be the private members will be able to join that. Okay. Very low cost. It's like 50 cents a day. I mean, it's ridiculous. All these things that we do, we want the masses to be able to do. And if you're having a problem with $14.95 or $11, I got news for you. We got to work on your mindset. Okay.
We found you just in time.
Yeah, we found you just in time. That's for sure. These webinars, this is beautiful from Greg Hanna. The webinars are getting better and better each week. Thank you for the teaching. We've learned so much. We thank you. We love you all. And we're going to continue to bring it out, but we got to bring it out, we got to bring it out one little bit at a time. We can't hit everybody with too much. Here's a question as Master Lama. What do you feel about Reiki? Reike? Reiki?
Reiki. Yeah. Well, I actually have good feelings about Reiki. And Reiki, like another Japanese discipline called Aikido, was developed by two masters who had backgrounds in different arts. And you're going to watch this. You'll see a similar pattern here. They go out into nature. They fast a lot. They pray a lot. They meditate a lot. And angels of light in both situations delivered to these two masters a higher knowledge of the field they were already in. I'll give you an example of Aikido. And that is Morihei Shiba was a champion of martial artists, second to none. Won all kind of tournaments. He was the emperor's personal bodyguard for many, many, many years. And one day he went out into the woods. He was direct lineage of samurai heritage. And he began to duplicating the sword movements with his hands. And he realized if you were anchored in the energy of earth, you were anchored in the energy of God. And so when people started to attack him, he would step to the side and he would get behind them and just redirect their energy where it was already going. And so people would come and try to attack him with a sword. They couldn't touch him. They would do nothing of the kind. When they heard him working out, when he moved back home several years later, he would be in home and he would strike the wall with his palm of his hands. And they said his whole building would shake. And the guy was like 5'2", 5'3", 150 pounds. Imagine that, right? They caught him when tsunamis would come to Japan, and he would have his feet tied down on the roof, and he would anchor and root his energy, and the tsunami couldn't even blow him off the roof. They could not believe that he could ground that much energy. The week before he died physically, you're going to understand there's physical strength, psychic strength, and spiritual strength. Spirit, mind, and body are but one, the true chanda. And they brought him in because he was physically so frail in his 70s on a mobile tatami mat. And 4 black belts carried the master in. Now, I actually trained with a master in the Orient that was present this day. So I have this story firsthand. He was a 7th degree black belt and in charge of all the Aikido training in the island of Japan. And he said it was the most marvelous thing ever seen. They all knew that the master would not live long. And there were 120 black belts that were present that day sitting around. He had 6 black belts that were 5th degree and higher. He says, attack me all at once. And he rooted down, and when they would get within 4 to 6 feet of his energy field, they would go flying, and he didn't lay a hand on them. He would turn one way, and another one would fly, and another way. And they said it looked like the atom. And black belts were flying over the master's head. The next week in meditation, he left his body forever. So Reiki was developed a very, very similar way. The key when you're in any healing or martial arts, I want to say this because my whole life has been dedicated to being a Lama and a martial artist my whole life. I hold 4 black belts in 4 different martial arts, the master in one. And that is, it still comes down whether you say you're a healing art or warrior art, what is in your heart, what is in your mind, and what is in your spirit. Just like computers can be used to hurt children or educate children, martial arts can be used for healing, but it can also be used very nasty. So again, it's in your heart. So understand those 2 arts were originally created of God, and they are good. That doesn't mean that every Reiki master today, I want to make this clear, is of the same lineage that the original master was. It's true of the art of Aikido also. Jimmie.
Yeah, and listen, folks, we'd love to be here with you all day. We're going to be back next Thursday, and we've got a really exciting episode for you. This is going to be on Facebook and on YouTube, and will be on Master Lama Rasaji's website under videos, the Patriot and the Lama show. Also, make sure you tune into the Daily Lamas. I listen to them every day. There's always beautiful gold nuggets in there to help you move forward in ascending and getting prepared for the energy that is going to transform this world. And if you're not ready for it, you're going to have a hard time with it. And we want to help you transition and be ready and be a steward to handle God's currency. So we love you all. Let's close this, Master Lama Rasaji, with a blessing and prayer, please.
We call on Almighty Abba, Father of fathers, Kings of kings, Lord of all light and energy. We are thankful that you bestow upon us the peaceful things of immortal glory. Thankful, Lord, that you calm the hearts, souls, and minds of all that listen to you and listen to this broadcast. We are thankful and grateful that you are protecting their families, that you are raising them up the same way you raised your eternal Son on that day of resurrection many, many years ago. We are thankful that you're allowing them to walk in your glory and in the presence of you, so they understand you're omniscient, you're omnipotent, and you're omnipresent. For you are eternal, and you are always faithful, and you are there with us constantly. For you are as close to us as our heart beats, and as near to us as our breath. All glory and honors are given to you, Abba, eternal Father. We love you. Thank you. Amen.
Amen. We love you all. We'll see you next week. Make sure to plug into everything. Take care.